We're looking at that, right? Oh,
I mean, you can look wherever you want. We're in Japan, and I'm here with Pepe to talk about the changelog. Let's do it.
Paper is fiddly.
Do you want to manage the microphone?
Let's try a change of roles.
Sure, okay. You have this development mindset of you don't want everything laser to have a toggle. Why did this one get through?
My only problem with toggles is like where we want to put them. OS has a lot of settings. Having those settings organized in a way where people can find what they want is very hard to do. So when we need to add a new toggle, the question is like, where do we want to put it? Do we want to put it on the player loading screen? Do we want to put it on the global options or somewhere local to the component? And something like this, where historically people use skinning to get rid of these. They would skin the star 2 to a transparent image, but it is used in more places than just the star fountain. So it makes sense from that perspective to have a toggle for star fountains at a user settings level, which is why this was added. I can talk more about settings if you want to add that in. I was talking with the guy, I don't know what his OS username is.
Where does it even say username?
Monomania. I met this very cool guy yesterday, Monomania. He's a long-term laser user. He's been maining it for 2 years now, I think. But yeah, one of the things that came up is that there are too many settings in OS. I was looking at Safari settings and it's an absolute mess. But I can tell you where every setting is. So I think there's something to be said about learning the location of settings, and you just can't do that with a huge scrolling list. You know, you accidentally scroll away and then you're like, oh, where was I up to? So I do think we're going to be looking at organizing things back into tabs or moving settings local to components. So like, you know, you're at song select and you want to change the way the leaderboard displays. Maybe there's like a settings cog next to the leaderboard that pops out local settings for that component.
Slightly on that.
You're going to go to the player loader one, aren't you? The settings which used to be on player loader are now accessible in spectator and replay playback. I also want to test if we can make it work during the quick restart process, because we have heard feedback. People still want to be able to change their settings while using the quick restart hotkey, and that's no longer possible because it happens so fast. Maybe we can make that work if your mouse cursor is, you know, in that area. While you're doing the quick restart, it can pop out the settings instead of immediately flipping over. Increase idle time before gameplay loads when hovering controls. So when you're at the player loading screen and you're like going to adjust the background dim or something and you just leave your mouse there, it used to enter gameplay quite fast. This makes it take a bit longer before gameplay starts. So you have a bit more time to be like, is this correct? Before it'll just jump in. So this mod, yeah, your cursor gets bigger as your combo gets higher. There's not much more to say about it.
Is there a max size?
There is a max size. I think you can adjust the max size. We've set it like within reasonable limitations. I don't think you can get it to full screen, but it does affect different skins differently. We haven't made any kind of considerations for some skins having larger cursors in the first place.
Right. It's for fun.
It's for fun. We're not trying to balance this mod or anything. This is a huge change. A lot of Mania players care about this.
That one.
Because SSs now work as they used to. So Mania has more judgments than any other rule set, right? The 500s or the max, the perfect. You can't, sorry, there's certain terms you cannot use in a certain order here, but get past that for now. Now you can get SSs when you only have greats, so you don't need to get max judgment anymore. Yeah, but with this change we did actually recalculate all ranks.
So like those people with -3 SSs or something.
That's finally been fixed. Okay. We did have one person be like, can I please keep my negative numbers? I like them.
Nice. Stage alignment and Mania not matching stable. This is like a 2 pixel change thing, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's about 2 pixels. Yeah, this just adds a bit more flexibility because that random number actually starts to increment the scroll speed very fast as it gets higher. So you kind of do want decimals once you get into the higher scroll speed range.
Are you fine with us potentially photobombing you?
I'm very fine with that, yes. So I'm going to cover the editor changes myself because we rambled a lot. Continuing with Mania stuff, skipping to a specific point in time was pretty annoying before this update because the relevant notes would disappear. So now they don't. And these object outlines, which were previously really thick lines, have been adjusted to be a bit more readable. A common complaint about the editor is how crowded it feels, and these pink hit sound things are part of the reason why. Before this update, they could basically cover the entire timeline, but now they'll compress to dots when they'd otherwise overlap. Thank Olibomber for this as usual. Holding Control and clicking is a common way to select multiple objects, so it sucks how Laser would deselect all objects if you accidentally control-clicked on nothing. As of this update, it'll keep everything selected if you misclick. And one last editor change, countdown and samples match playback rate are now disabled by default in Laser's editor, just like they were in stable. Last video, Peppy teased that beatmap submission was going to be a thing, and it's not here. What's going on?
We've put in place the basic functionality that was there in the old submission system. Secondly, there is versioning that many people asked about. And third, we have direct submission of guess difficulties. Now we need to just make code which was written very quickly, very simply, not susceptible to exploits such as uploading a ranked map into the game. So I'm just going to work through these issues over the next 2 weeks. Maybe we'll go live with it after that.
Add ability to close playlists. I appreciate this one so much.
It's a relief to me because I've also had a lot of users ask me to delete things manually when they make like a 180 beatmap long playlist and they forgot one beatmap. It's like, well, yeah. Chat now sorts channels alphabetically and also private channels based on when a message last came in. I did not realize this one was not already the case, as is with a lot of things that we're fixing.
What is the most important thing in this changelog, would you say? The most important one, I think, is literally text. It's the one about max PP.
That's an existing element, right? It's not a new skinnable element there.
The beatmap difficulty attribute, it's existed for a while.
Yeah, okay. So it's just adding max PP as an option to the text list.
And it applies whatever mods you're using too.
So a couple of performance improvements this release. One is on the unstable rate calculation. That would recalculate the unstable rate every time you hit something, which on long beatmaps would kind of add up and add a bit of stuttering. That's been fixed. The other performance improvements is one of those under the hood ones, Realm, the database engine we're using. And I thought I fixed this recently. I did the beatmap carousel. I did a huge optimization on it where searches would be a lot faster and that kind of thing. So I thought I fixed this there, and I actually did, but I left one of the queries still running that didn't need to be. So it was just a matter of removing a few lines of code and everything got double as fast. Add setting to allow hold for pause again.
You added this last time where you disabled the hold for pause on escape. Now it's kind of back.
I feel like this is a recurring theme where we add something that people wanted back from stable, and then, you know, those people that have gotten used to how it worked in lazer are like, well, actually, I think I preferred the new way. Anyway, so now you can toggle it. Yep. It's just a toggle.
I didn't. Last time I was in Japan, we talked about user acceptance for lazer, how basically you're trying to accommodate for all these different groups of players, and over the last couple of years, how's that been going? That's basically all I'm asking.
Yeah, I think we're making progress. For the first time in lazer's whole development cycle, the last few months has been the first time I've been like, this game is actually feeling like something I could recommend a NOS player to use. You'll probably see that that's the case because there's a new button in Cutting Edge right now that lets you switch across clients. You click it and it will install lazer and bring it up.
As far as I know, that's only in like the settings area.
Correct, yeah.
That's because you don't feel like it's ready to get like full front attention yet?
Oh no, not yet. I feel like we need to address, you know, the elephant in the room, the elephants in song select, and also the results screen, and there's a few other really big pieces of the lazer puzzle which just haven't been realized yet. The majority of the remaining users which go try lazer and then they're like, yeah, but nah, getting those last pieces of the puzzle in place is just gonna make the experience all the better and actually have people stick to the new client. The next big steps for me is we want to try and get a mobile release out, like an actual release, because I am inundated with requests from people to clear test flight, to reset test flight, or get it up in Google Play Store. And apart from the features we just talked about, the next big step is to make it the primary download on the website. I think the way we introduce lazer on the website is still like try lazer. It's not like download lazer, it's try it and see if it works for you. OS is a very simple game. For the pro player audience, it's just circles on a black background. And meanwhile, we're making all these complex systems around the game, and you don't need all those to exist to enjoy the game. The systems which are required to enjoy the game and to progress as a player and to see your progress are all there in lazer now. And I don't want to be unnecessarily optimistic because I am generally known to be too optimistic, but I would say within the next year, lazer is going to be like there.
Yeah, nothing else.
Yep, cool.